Introducing Sky 5, Middle Tennessee's first and only live news helicopter.
I'm Russ Mitchell. The Mideast crisis intensifies as dozens are killed. Hezbollah rockets hit many miles inside Israel, and the Israelis retaliate, pounding Lebanese coastal towns and Beirut. The growing war is where we begin tonight.
Hezbollah rockets strike deep into the Israeli heartland, shattering any illusion of safety. I'm Lara Logan.
A message of defiance from Hezbollah as the bombing intensifies. I'm Elizabeth Palmer in Beirut.
I'm Jim Acosta on the summer sizzle, putting 2006 on track to be the hottest year on record.
This is the CBS Evening News with Russ Mitchell.
And good evening. It was a day of deadly, surprising attacks in the Mideast as the cross-border war between Israel and Hezbollah accelerated. Here's the latest. 8 Israelis died in a rocket barrage on the city of Haifa. In Lebanon, Israeli airstrikes killed dozens. As the Hezbollah leader warned, the conflict is just beginning. The U.S. moved to begin evacuating Americans to Cyprus. The U.S. and its G8 partners condemned Hezbollah, but called on Israel to use restraint. We have reports on all aspects of the crisis, but first, our chief foreign correspondent, Lara Logan, in Haifa. Lara?
Good evening, Russ. Well, just over an hour ago, Hezbollah rockets hit 2 more Israeli towns that have never been hit before, Nazareth and Afula. And what's particularly significant about this attack is that Afula is even further south than Haifa. Now, there were no casualties reported there, but that was not the case earlier in the day when Hezbollah delivered on their promise to hit Haifa hard. In less than a minute, the history of Haifa was changed forever. Hezbollah guerrillas reached deep into Israel with their deadliest attack in the current crisis. Air raid sirens sent emergency workers running for cover. 3 missiles have just hit. There are bodies all over the ground from earlier hits. There have just been 3 more explosions here. Amidst pools of blood and shattered glass, religious emergency teams carefully gathered the remains of every victim. A slow and painful task that's taken very seriously here. It was a day that shattered any illusions the Jewish heartland might escape the latest conflict in Lebanon. The emergency workers are trying to remove those killed from the scene of this attack. We're inside the industrial port of Haifa at a train maintenance facility. This is the heaviest attack in the history of Hezbollah on this city, the worst the people living here have ever seen. Hezbollah called it retaliation for the Israeli campaign against Lebanon. Israel vowed retaliation of its own. Almost immediately, one of their top generals warned Lebanese civilians of even heavier attacks.
I want to say to the population in south of Lebanon that we want to avoid innocent victims. So we recommend them to leave their villages and homes.
The Israeli artillery thundered their response, targeting rocket launching sites in Lebanon from the ground and the air. The Israeli army says this cockpit video shows Hezbollah rockets being fired moments before their position is destroyed. It didn't stop there. Here you can see the view from the air as Hezbollah's main television station in Beirut was also hit. The explosion knocking their correspondent off the air for 6 minutes. For many Israelis, the attack on Haifa, although threatened, still came as a real shock. One person here said to me, for an American, it would be like looking out of your window and seeing bombs falling on San Francisco. It really brought home to many people here that they are now at war. Russ?
Lara, thus far, the Israel response to anything has been swift and direct. Despite what that Israeli official said in the report, do you get any sense at all that Israel will dial back on retaliation?
No, Russ, in fact, just the opposite. While we've been standing here, we can hear in the distance the thunder of explosions across the border as Israeli strikes on Lebanon continue. And in fact, there hasn't been indication from either side that they're prepared to scale back.
Lara Logan in Haifa, thank you very much. The Canadian government has confirmed that 8 Canadians died in Lebanon today. 6 more were critically injured. It was yet another bloody day in Lebanon as Israel fired back. Elizabeth Palmer is in Beirut.
Another round in the deadly escalation. Israeli missiles thundered down across southern Lebanon, destroying houses, cars, and factories, and killing at least 36 people. This is Israel's reply to Hezbollah rockets hitting Haifa earlier in the day. By late afternoon, the group had already released a video celebrating the strikes. And on television, Hezbollah's leader promised more what he called surprises. We thank God that we're in full battle, said Hassan Nasrallah, and we won't let the enemy impose either the means or the place to use our weapons. Once again, the business section of Beirut's downtown was eerily quiet. Anybody who did venture out found that Israeli planes had been dropping leaflets. Some, like this one, were anti-Hezbollah cartoons. Others simply warned the Israeli attacks would continue on Hezbollah neighborhoods. And they did, flattening apartment buildings and more of Hezbollah's facilities. But no matter how precise these attacks, everyone is scared, including the foreign students at Beirut's American University. Sana Ajami, whose Lebanese parents emigrated to New Jersey, and her friend Farah Zougni are graduate students, stunned to find themselves stranded in a war zone.
When the bombs are falling, I'm furious with Israel, and I'm also angry at Hezbollah for taking the executive decision to do this and putting all of our lives in danger.
With just basic Arabic, reliable information is hard to come by.
We don't understand what happens on the news. We can't understand them. And we're having friends translate for us, and that there's so many rumors going around.
It took us 2 days to realize how serious this was, I think.
Farah's parents are so worried, she's decided to get out as soon as the U.S. government arranges safe transport for its citizens. But leaving the program would be a wrench for Sana, and she's going to stay, at least for now.
Connections with the Canadians.
Now, those 8 Canadians that you referred to, Russ, just before my report, they were actually Lebanese Canadians, and they were all killed, all members of the same family, in an attack that destroyed their house, which was right down on the border, of course, the area that's seen the heaviest pounding today. Russ?
Elizabeth Palmer in Beirut. Thank you very much. We want to go to Syria now to speak with correspondent Richard Roth, who just landed in Damascus. Richard, what is the situation there?
Well, I think that 2 messages are coming from the Syrians tonight, Russ. One is that Syria is not even considering abandoning its sponsorship of Hezbollah. Damascus announced to the political and logistical capital of the militant group and reaffirmed its support as recently as today. The other is Syria's warning that if it's attacked by Israel, it will strike back, with a response the Syrian information minister warns will be harsh, direct, and unlimited. But that said, there's no sign Syria wants to get involved in the fighting, only a growing worry that tension's so high between old enemies that it could only take an accident to widen the war.
Richard Roth in Damascus. Thank you. A UN team has been sent to Lebanon to see if a deal can be hammered out to end the fighting, and the crisis was topic A this Sunday at the G8 summit in Russia. Our chief White House correspondent Jim Axelrod is in St. Petersburg with the latest. Jim?
Well, Russ, that UN delegation is already on the ground in Lebanon. Meanwhile, here in Russia, the leaders of the world's 8 most powerful democracies have reached their own agreement about how to proceed. The G8 leaders put the blame squarely on Hamas and Hezbollah for starting the crisis in the Middle East. Israel is urged to exercise what's called utmost restraint. The leaders stopped short of calling for an immediate ceasefire, setting out conditions that could lead to one instead. The return of the kidnapped Israeli soldiers, an end to the shelling of Israel, and an end to the Israeli strikes in Lebanon and Gaza. This echoes what President Bush has been saying all weekend here.
This started because Hezbollah decided to capture 2 Israeli soldiers and fire hundreds of rockets into Israel. And so our message to Israel is, look, defend yourself, but as you do so, be mindful of the consequences.
While G8 leaders who've been critical of Israel did not get language they may have wanted, the U.S. also went without something it's been clear about as well. Mention of Iran and Syria as sponsors of Hezbollah and Hamas.
I absolutely see that Syria and Iran are playing a part in this. They're not even trying to hide their hand.
Tonight, Russian President Vladimir Putin said when it comes to linking Syria and Iran to Hamas and Hezbollah and the unfolding crisis, in his opinion, there just isn't enough hard evidence to do so. Russ?
Well, Jim, there is a report out there that French President Jacques Chirac said the G8 leaders are indeed calling for an immediate ceasefire. What can you tell us about that?
Well, it just points up the difficulty of speaking with a single voice when there are so many different members of the choir and so many different agendas. If you read the statement, clearly there is no call for an immediate ceasefire. Again, just the conditions that could lead to one. Russ?
Jim Axelrod in St. Petersburg, Russia. Thank you. For Americans still in Lebanon, the word from the U.S. government is stay where you are as officials work on a safe way to get those who want to leave out. Joey Chen has more on that tonight from Washington. Joey?
Russ, in just the last hour, the Pentagon released to us the very first images of the first rescue efforts by Marines of U.S. citizens still trapped in Beirut. You take a look. There are pictures of the first group. We're told it's 21 U.S. citizens who were brought out to safety from Beirut to Cyprus. One, we were told, was a very sick child that authorities felt needed to be brought out right away. But in the coming days, the Defense Department expects that it will be able to have ready a far more major evacuation operation, and Americans may need it. We're told that as many as 8,000 Americans may turn to the Marines for help. Desperate to get themselves out, Lebanese and foreign nationals rushed by road for the Syrian capital, Damascus, and their only chance for flights out of the region. The Swiss, French, and Greek governments, among others, have begun to evacuate their citizens. But Americans calling home say each day there are fewer options, fewer ways out for them. Reached at Beirut's American University, 21-year-old exchange student Vanessa Aponte says she's packed and ready, but doesn't know how to go. From her dorm room window, she can see Israeli ships blockading the port. Beirut's airports are ruined, and she's too afraid to leave by car.
I wanted to go to Syria like everybody else, and we didn't know if it was safe or not to be on these roads because it's known as the war of the bridges and the roads.
I keep thinking, how can I go to sleep knowing that my daughter's life is in danger as well as everybody else?
Back home in New Jersey, Aponte's mother is keeping an eye on the latest news and growing more frustrated that the U.S. didn't move more quickly. The State Department's reply: the situation has been the kind that has not allowed us to guarantee that people could get out safely. That's not enough to satisfy a worried mother.
If they knew that other countries were doing it from the first day that the situation began, why wait so long?
The Pentagon now has what it calls a fast response team on the ground in Lebanon. That's to be able to monitor the situation and to be able to act quickly if that becomes necessary. But the thing people want to know most of all, Russ, is when that evacuation operation full scale will begin, and we just don't know that yet.
Of course. Joey Chen at the Pentagon. Thank you very much. Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a look at the role Iran is playing in the Middle East conflict.
Dr. Robert Jarvik, inventor of the artificial heart.
The average heart beats 2 billion times. The heart is amazing, but high cholesterol can lead to heart disease. Lipitor can help. When diet and exercise aren't enough, adding Lipitor significantly lowers bad cholesterol.
39 to 60%.
If you have several common risk factors for heart disease, Lipitor is clinically proven to reduce your risk of heart attack. And more cardiologists surveyed said they'd prescribe Lipitor for their own families than any other cholesterol-lowering brand. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. You need simple blood tests to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor if you are taking other medications or if you have any muscle pain or weakness. They may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Lipitor is one of many treatment options to consider with your doctor. It's your heart. Ask if Lipitor is right for you.
Visit Lipitor.com for a free trial.
Terracotta.
Stone.
Bermuda.
York's new Affinity Series air conditioning systems are sleek, quiet, and efficient.
Jet black.
And they come in a choice of colors that are as distinctive as you are.
Champagne.
Because people like color. The new beautiful Affinity Series from York.
There's a ton of multivitamins out there. Which one do you choose? Centrum rises to the top.
Centrum balances combinations of nutrients to help them work to their full potential, like C recharges E to optimize antioxidant power and help maintain immunity. With 8 interactive combinations that help your body get more out of Centrum. There's a lot to choose from, and then there's Centrum. Centrum is balanced and the most complete from A to Zinc.
My kids call me the finisher. Finish up in there.
Okay.
Finish your homework?
Yes.
Finish your vegetables. Something I thought I was finished with? Managing my acid reflux disease. I thought it was just bad heartburn, but my doctor said over time, stomach acid was damaging the lining of my esophagus. She prescribed Nexium, said I needed more than heartburn relief. My esophagus needed repair. 1 prescription Nexium pill a day not only relieves my heartburn, it healed erosions in my esophagus. So I don't just feel better, I am better. And with the Purple Plus program, I get advice on nutrition, exercise, even ways to save on Nexium. My doctor did say headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain could be side effects of Nexium, and other serious stomach conditions may still exist.
Talk to your doctor about the healing Purple Pill.
I tell him you shouldn't do anything halfway. Let's finish up.
If you're without prescription coverage and can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
To get some perspective on the crisis in the Middle East, earlier today I spoke with Richard Haas, the president of the Council on Foreign Relations. I asked him if he is surprised by how fast this explosive situation has escalated.
Well, what you've seen is a spreading of the conflict. You've had the tensions between Israel and Hamas. Now you've got the overlay of the tensions between Israel and Hezbollah, which takes on more of the characteristics of a conventional war. The real question is whether it stops here or gets even worse, conceivably dragging in countries like Syria and Iran.
I know that you think that Iran in particular is key in this conflict. What messages do you think Iran is trying to send to the world?
In part, I think Iran is trying to say that nothing of significance can happen in the region without its involvement. I also think Iran is sending a signal that if anyone were to use military force against it over its nuclear program, it has all sorts of tools it can use to disrupt the region, in particular Hezbollah and Hamas.
Mr. Ambassador, the United States, the Bush administration has said it will not press Israel for a ceasefire. From a diplomatic standpoint, do you think that's a good idea?
Well, the United States should not press Israel for an unconditional ceasefire. What we should be, though, doing is urging a ceasefire that's connected with a pullback of Hezbollah away from the Israeli border. And in that context, and in the context of a larger political arrangement that includes conceivably a prisoner swap, yes, we should urge a ceasefire.
Richard Haas, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. In the battle for Iraq, a suicide bomber killed 26 people at a cafe crowded with Shiite Muslims north of Baghdad. And just ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a critical test for stem cell research.
Now, the Hall of Fame eye drop. New Clear Eyes, triple action relief. It gets redness, dryness, irritation out. A triple play. Wow, new triple action relief. 3-way relief from Clear Eyes.
This is a very uncomfortable situation. Sales of flatulent. I've remained silent but deadly about this problem so far.
Got gas on your mind? New Gas X Thin Strips dissolve quickly and relieve gas fast. Gas X, pressure's off.
Is your relationship in its early years, or are you old pals? Are you close friends in the great indoors, or a family in a full house? Are you living the Purina Catch-Out way of life? Essential nutrition for each life stage or lifestyle, and access to behaviorists, nutritionists, and vets for a happy, healthy life together. Physical, emotional, complete. That's the Purina Catch-Out way of life. Kittens need extra protein for healthy development. Feed them Purina Kitten Chow Nurturing Formula for a healthy way of life.
Cholesterol. It can come from fettuccine Alfredo, but also from your Grandpa Alfredo, from barbecue ribs, and from your Aunt Barbie. A healthy diet is important. When that's not enough, adding Vytorin can help. Cholesterol comes from two sources, food and family. Vytorin treats two sources. Only Vytorin helps block the absorption of cholesterol from food and reduces the cholesterol your body makes naturally based on family history. Vytorin was also proven in clinical studies to lower bad cholesterol more than Lipitor alone. Vytorin is not for everyone, including people with liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Unexplained muscle pain or weakness could be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Vytorin may interact with other medicines or certain foods, increasing your risk of getting this serious side effect. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. So eat right, stay active. But if that's not enough, ask your doctor about adding Vytorin. Two sources of cholesterol. Treat them both with Vytorin.
No sweat.
When you sweat, mosquitoes just can't resist you. But Off Active is sweat resistant. It gives you proven off protection when you sweat. Protection against mosquitoes that may carry the West Nile virus. Sweat resistant Off Active keeps bugs off, even when you sweat. S.C. Johnson, a family company.
What right does your boss have to decide how you live outside of work? Probably more than you think. Plus, Bodie Miller, back on top. 60 Minutes tonight.
This week, a car accident damaged Annette's body, but not her spirit. How was she able to brush her hair, feed herself, even do embroidery? Don't miss her inspirational story on The Early Show.
Embryonic stem cell research holds great promise for curing disease, but presents ethical problems for millions of Americans. Congress takes up the thorny issue this week, and in a strange twist, some Republicans in Congress are opposing the president. Cheryl Atkinson has more.
Politics makes strange bedfellows, but it's not often that conservative Republicans like Gordon Smith line up with Democrats against the president.
So I respect his view. I simply have a different one.
The issue is federal research using stem cells from human embryos. This week, the Senate is expected to pass a bill allowing them to be harvested from embryos left over from fertility treatments. To some researchers, stem cells have an almost magical quality. Think of them as nature's shapeshifters. They're not pre-programmed, and scientists believe they can be engineered to develop into bone, muscle, cartilage, and more. If scientists can perfect recipes to control them, there's hope stem cells can one day be transplanted into people to treat diseases like Alzheimer's, diabetes, and also Parkinson's, which Senator Smith says claimed his grandmother, his uncle, and cousin Mo Udall, who once ran for president.
And you see the most dehumanizing, lengthy, painful kinds of deaths, that it does lead you to really question the wisdom of halting research.
So what's the controversy? Some, including President Bush, believe destroying a human embryo to get stem cells is immoral.
We must proceed with great care.
Others worry that embryos or even fetuses will be created and sacrificed for the sole purpose of getting stem cells. That's why Senator Bill Frist, a doctor, threw some fellow conservatives for a loop when he also came out in support of embryonic stem cell research. For him, it's an ethical way to use embryos slated for destruction anyway.
In fact, hundreds of thousands of embryos are being thrown away today. A lot of people don't realize that. They're just being discarded because they're not needed. They're in excess after in vitro fertilization.
That puts the Republican leader of the Senate at odds with President Bush, who favors stem cell research only using the limited number of colonies already in the research pipeline. Which is why President Bush has promised to use the veto pen for the first time on the stem cell bill. Congress can turn around a veto with enough votes, but nobody we've talked to thinks they have the numbers to do that. So this week's Senate vote will probably make a statement, but not policy. Cheryl Atkinson, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And coming up on the CBS Evening News, America sizzles in what could be its hottest year ever.
Some things men don't want to talk about.
Like prostate problems. But I learned 1 in 3 men will have them. So I switched to One-A-Day Men's.
A complete multivitamin plus lycopene, which Harvard studies suggest may help prostate health.
Some things are healthy to talk about.
One-A-Day Men's.
No shaking it. Watch, when I get my driver's license, I'm gonna drive. I got this. I got this. Excuse me. Can I get?
Oh, wait. 555-1492.
New Crest Whitening Plus Scope Extreme Toothpaste.
with 50% more scope for irresistibly fresh breath.
Are we ever going to get directions?
New Crest Whitening Plus Scope Extreme.
If you use those over-the-counter drops several times a day, you may have chronic dry eye due to decreased tear production without knowing it, like me. And my doctor prescribed Restasis.
With continued use, Restasis helps increase your natural ability to produce tears, which may be reduced by inflammation due to chronic dry eye. It should not be used by patients with active eye infections and has not been studied in patients with a history of herpes viral infections of the eye. The most common side effect is a burning sensation.
More of my own tears. Thanks, Restasis.
This is a very uncomfortable situation. Sales of flatulent. I've remained silent but deadly about this problem so far.
Got gas on your mind? New Gas X Thin Strips dissolve quickly and relieve gas fast. Gas X, pressure's off.
All of us have internal plumbing. But for some of us with frequent bladder urges, doing errands also means knowing where all the bathrooms are along the way. The worry your pipes might leak means you don't always detour from your route. But you can take another direction. Talk to your doctor about how to take care with Vesicare. Vesicare, once a day, can reduce urges and may help effectively manage bladder leakage, day and night. If you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems, do not take Vesicare. While taking Vesicare, if you experience a serious allergic reaction, severe abdominal pain, or become constipated for 3 or more days, tell your doctor right away. Common side effects are dry mouth, constipation, blurred vision, and indigestion. A chance to follow a whim, not always your urges. It's not just a pipe dream. Ask your doctor today if Vesicare is right for you.
Finally this evening, coast to coast, from the Canadian border to the Rocky Mountains to the Gulf of Mexico, America was stuck today under a blanket of stifling, record-setting summer heat. Here's Jim Acosta.
Outside Yankee Stadium in New York City, fans were less than spirited about the dandy of a heat wave that could shatter records across the East Coast early this week. From the Big Apple,
stay cool, drink water, and wear loose-fitting clothes,
to the nation's capital.
Woody Allen said, "I don't tan, I stroke," and that's how we feel about the sun.
As a wall of steamy weather swept through the Midwest this weekend, 22 states recorded at least one high temperature of 100 degrees. Towns in South Dakota and Minnesota hit a staggering 117.
Yeah, I just felt like my body was going to give out, and it did.
Combined with the humidity, forecasters say a heat index in the triple digits will settle in tomorrow.
Kick your feet!
Nearly everywhere east of the Mississippi.
All these places are going to be very close to the 100-degree mark. Not only Monday, perhaps Tuesday, and then again Thursday or Friday.
Forget a long, hot summer, try the whole year. According to the government's climate data researchers, the first half of 2006 was actually the warmest on record. The National Climate Data Center shows from January to June, temperatures either broke records or were much above normal for all but 13 states in the continental U.S.
We just came from Vegas, and it was 112 degrees, and we couldn't stand it. It was really hard.
With that heat moving east, beachgoers trying to cool off in Cape Cod found a different danger, a shark lurking in the water.
The park ranger said he was about 12 feet long.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
Take heed, these dog days of summer can bite. Jim Acosta, CBS News, New York.
And that's the CBS Evening News. Thanks for joining us this Sunday evening. I'm Russ Mitchell, CBS News in New York. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, click on cbsnews.com. Brought to you in part by Walmart. Walmart and Sam's Club pharmacies accept all Medicare prescription drug plans. And at the Walmart price, you get a great value for your prescription dollars.
Experience CBS News.
The Opry Mills Mall shooting the day after what police believe sparked the gunfire that sent thousands of people running. And a stuck SUV in Music City. The big question now is, how will they ever get it down?
And it's hot out there, and it's going to be getting hotter as we go through the week with temperatures approaching 100. I'll talk about how long this is going to last coming up.
Live with Sky 5. From your news and information leader, this is News Channel 5 at 5:30.
Gunfire and fireworks went off inside a crowded mall. 2 people were shot, causing police to evacuate the Opry Mills Mall. Good evening, everyone, and we thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Scott Arnold. You know, it's a place where families go to shop, eat, and of course, see movies. But last night, gunfire sent thousands of people running out of Opry Mills Mall. And News Channel 5's Lyra Manning has been following this story. Now, Lyra, at this point, they believe the shooting was gang-related. So are there any suspects in custody?
Well, Scott, police did question several people, but the man who fired the shot is still on the run. Investigators say that Opry Mills does not have a